Hey, what's going on YouTube? Here I'm just doing a quick video on some of the mistakes I made while building my Overland rig. If you're just starting out building, you might want to listen up and maybe you'll avoid some of these mistakes. All right, here on my 21 Tacoma, if you have a different vehicles, a lot of these mistakes I made will also apply to you. But coming here first, I did go to 35-inch tires. I do have a video on how to fit 35s on a 3rd gen Tacoma, so if you're curious about that, let me know. But the first mistake is I did a body mount chop and not a relocation first. It didn't work out too well and I was still rubbing pretty bad. So do a relocation, don't do a chop. You're already down there, so you might as well do that, spend the extra money. And then while we're down here is when I first did my fender thing, I didn't get like these liners, and at the time no one made really liners, and the C4 came out with them. So I bought theirs. Definitely do that or you just get mud everywhere and it's more of a pain than it's worth. All right, coming to the rear of the vehicle, if you have a Tacoma or a vehicle with leaf springs, make sure you get the appropriate weight of the leaf spring if you're doing a lot of weight. Now, if you're not doing a lot of weight right away, still get the appropriate rate so you're not losing money. If you do like, those are 700 pounds or 600 pound devers. So if you got like the 300 pound one and then you did all this, you'd have to buy new devers and then lose money trying to resell those. So definitely keep that in mind. Now another one, now you can see I have an iCamper 3.0 Mini. I love the tent. When I first started out, I did buy a cheap Chinese one. Do not recommend that. If something's outside of your vehicle, a good rule of thumb I like to live by is buy expensive, buy once, cry once. Don't buy cheap Chinese stuff. I know probably some of the stuff is cheap Chinese stuff, but especially something you're sleeping in. So save up the extra money, get a good tent. Now with bumpers, one mistake I did do is I just bought this bumper from Out Gear Solutions. The whole swing out wasn't on there and I wanted a swing out, but I bought that. So if you're looking to buy a rear bumper and you want to swing out, just save the extra and buy one with the swing out, because building the swing out was more than just buying a bumper with the swing out. So definitely do that. So right here, if you look at my Instagram and old photos, I did have a deck here. It came up to like about here and only left me like this much room. It also weighs like 200 pounds and I realized I kind of didn't need to do anything. I didn't use it, so I just got rid of it. So definitely plan ahead. I guess if you have a full cab or like an alley cab, maybe a deck works, but the deck is, I don't really think it's really Overland specific. It's more of a construction thing. So because they expect you to put heavy stuff on top of it. So definitely keep that in mind if you're looking at a deck. Now with these 3rd gen Tacomas, if I'm re-geared to 48s, but if you throw a lot of weight on there and 35-inch tires and stuff, it gear hunts like a mofo. And I think that's kind of known within the community. It's kind of annoying. So it took me forever, but I got a tune. Highly recommend getting a tune. It fixes a lot of issues with it and it makes it way more steppy. It's not as sluggish. So I just recommend that, get a tune faster. Now, as we know, buying Overland gear and bumpers and lights and roof racks can be really expensive. So I don't recommend buying the cheap Chinese brands, but I do recommend, if you're patient enough and can't wait, like you don't have a trip coming, search on Marketplace every single day, especially if you're in a big city. Just look on Marketplace. There's people that part these out all the time with the exact parts you want. A lot of the parts on my truck have come off Marketplace, but one mistake I did do is not do more parts off Marketplace. So, that's a good tip. Just look at Marketplace. Now, this is more related to the camping stuff. You will get in, when you start buying camping stuff, if you don't have it already and you're just getting into the hobby, you're going to buy a lot of stuff. And a lot of stuff you actually will never use. I have bins and bins and bins of camping stuff that I just never use and just downsize. So if you take something on a camping trip and you don't use it for like 3 trips, take it out and put it in a bin or resell it on Marketplace. So don't overpack stuff. Weight, gas mileage, and it's not good for your vehicle when there's a lot of weight. So just try and downsize the camping gear as much as you can. Another way to get cheaper parts for your rig is to wait for holiday sales, Black Friday, stuff like that, or go to Expos. There's a lot of guys, or booths I should say, on Sunday. They'll have parts that they were showing off and they'll sell it at a stupid good discount, or just Expo deals are like 20-30% off. So if you can wait till Expo or wait for the holidays so you're not having to pay full price, definitely recommend. Now if it's in your budget to get aluminum skid plates, do that. It saves a bunch of weight. Unless you're really wheeling the thing, you'll never have to replace them unless you really just beat the hell out of them. But get aluminum skid plates, you'll save a lot of weight, and it's just a little bit better for your vehicle. Now, if you're looking to buy a vehicle for overlanding and you don't have it yet, get the trim and vehicle you actually want, save the extra money. If you want a locker, it's cheaper to probably just buy a TRD off-road than having a custom locker installed that also probably isn't going to be the best. It might be an air locker that always leaks. So make sure you get the best trim for you. Now, I didn't do this on this truck, but I did it on my 4Runner. If you plan to do any night wheeling at all, do not get dark tint on your vehicle. You can't see literally anything, even with like, you know, your light bars and stuff on. Looking out of the windows, I had limo tint all around it. And yeah, that's an extreme, but don't go dark tint. I didn't do any tint on this because I got sick and tired of not being able to see. And also, you know, tint doesn't last forever and you pay hundreds of dollars for a couple years of use and it starts bubbling and peeling. So, you know, if you really like it, I guess get it, but I'd recommend not to. Now, if you plan on getting beadlocks, just know that they are a lot more expensive to buy and they're a lot more expensive to mount tires on. So keep that in mind if you're getting beadlocks. I already knew that when I got them, but most people probably don't factor that in. It's a hell of a lot harder to mount them, and beadlocks are slightly heavier, so just keep that in mind. Here on the front of my rig, if you're doing a winch, first off, don't cheap out on a winch. That can be dangerous if it breaks. Get a worn super winch, even a Badlands winch. Just don't get like a really cheap, crappy one. And I have synthetic line in there because I don't winch all the time. A lot of people get metal line and that's super, super heavy. So you can save on some weight getting synthetic, and I just like synthetic more. So I'd recommend getting synthetic. So that kind of does the quick video on just some mistakes and random things that I did with my truck that maybe you can avoid. If you made a mistake yourself on, you know, not planning for something or specific product or whatnot, leave it down below in the comments, help some other people out. Now, if you're first starting your rig, if you have any questions at all on Overland equipment, as you could tell, I have a lot of stuff and I've gone through a lot of different brands of stuff. If you have any questions, feel free to DM me on Instagram. It'll be in the link below. Now, that's kind of it, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good day.